The government is currently drafting a data protection policy that is expected to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of natural persons and their right to privacy with respect to data processing. The Ministry of Information and Communication Technology will hold regional consultations on the Data Protection Bill for the public's input. To tell us about the policy is the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology Senior Public Relations Officer, Shoki Kandjimi. Good evening, Mr. Kandjimi, and welcome to the show.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me, and good evening to your viewers and listeners.
Now, when we talk about data, what exactly are we talking about?
All right. Data from the context of the bill itself refers to information stored on a computer or an organized paper filing system about living people. Now, this could be in the form of names, ages, places of birth, dates of birth, gender identification numbers, debit and credit cards, numbers, and ethnicity, just to mention a few. So this is what we are saying when we refer to data from the Data Protection Bill context.
And why is it so important to protect data?
I think the protection of data cannot be overemphasized, as we are now in the digital revolution whereby information or personal data is unlawfully collected, stored, processed, and accessed for the wrong reasons. I think some people have really experienced quite a lot of things on the digital footprint in terms of their information being used for the wrong reasons. So therefore, the ministry through this bill seeks to basically combat the violation of data likely to arise from the collection, processing, and transmission, storage, and the use of personal data, and also to make provision for the regulation of the processing of individuals' information. And then also another thing that we're also looking at is protecting the fundamental rights and freedoms of individuals. This is now in terms of their right to privacy concerning the processing of such information. So this is why we are really looking at ensuring that we are protecting people's personal information.
Is there a reason why Namibia has taken so long to come up with a data protection policy?
I don't think Namibia has really made it, or we are late perhaps in really coming up with this bill, because you must understand that before it becomes public consumption, an internal process is started. And that's where we do all the consultation with the relevant bodies, stakeholders, and so forth. And also at the same time, the ministry does not only focus on just one bill, but it also focuses on many other bills, such as the cybercrime bill, and also the electronic transmission, which is now the Electronic Transaction Act is now an act of parliament, which was promulgated in November 2019. So a lot of work is really done behind the background. So I would not say really we are late, but I think what's important is that now we are now at a stage where we are now consulting the public.
So MICT will be holding regional consultations on the Data Protection Bill. Tell us why the public's input is so important.
You know, we live in a democratic state, and public participation in the law-making process is quite very, very important, because this actually encourages the public to make the meaningful input into the decision-making process, and also allows the public and their perspective of the bill to be incorporated into this bill. Because we don't want to just enact a bill into a law without the inputs of the public, because really this bill will affect Namibians one way or the other. So we need to ensure that it is inclusive and really speaks to the current situation that Namibia is finding itself. And also, now that we are also in a digital era, we need to also look at how we can also be at the forefront of that in terms of our data protection.
So
basically...
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So basically also during this consultation, it will also allow us basically to inform, involve, consult, and most importantly, empower the people about data protection, because not a lot of people, particularly in the rural areas, are aware about this important bill that the ministry is really consulting. So this is also an opportunity for us as government to really empower our people, educate them about data protection.
So when are these consultations expected to kickstart and where?
Indeed, the ministry, as a champion of this important piece of legislation, will begin with its regional consultation in Rundu in the Kavango East region. That's tomorrow, the 15th of November 2022. That's at the Kavango Regional Council Auditorium. And basically, this will also continue throughout the country until in February. So I don't know if you would want me to share with you the exact date in terms of the other regions for our consultations.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment, okay. But also, what we have also done from the ministry's side is that we are also inviting interested parties and the general public to submit inputs and comments on the bill. These are now your written submissions. And we really encourage Namibians who have an interest in this bill to really submit these written submissions. This can be forwarded to elizabeth.kamutwegu@mict.gov.na or sarah.pohamba@mict.gov.na by the 30th of November 2022. Now, the data protection bill is also available on the MICT website, and you can really go through it, scrutinize the bill, and really add your voice to this bill. Our website is www.mict.gov.na.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Mr. Kandjimi.
Thank you so much for having me. And once again, I just want to encourage Namibians to really partake in this process and also give their inputs to this important piece of legislation.
Thank you. That was Ministry of Information and Communication Technology Senior Public Relations Officer Shoki Kandjimi, of course, talking to us about how government is currently drafting a data protection policy that is expected to protect the fundamental rights and freedoms of natural persons and their right to privacy with respect to data processing. Well, the Daily Roundup will be back after this short break.